There is a quiet law at the heart of longing that most of us miss because we treat desire like a problem to be solved rather than a field to be tended. From the vantage of an impartial narrator, life presents possibilities as a shimmering array of potentials, like waves rippling in an unseen sea. Intention points, attention measures. The paradox is simple and stubborn. The thing you watch with anxious precision is the one most likely to harden into the shape your fear can inhabit. Think of the double-slit experiment. Unobserved possibilities behave like waves, holding many trajectories at once. Observation collapses them into a single track. Translate that into the terrain of your heart and mind. You visualize, you affirm, you feel with devotion, and then you check. Each check, each mental probe, is a detector. It gathers information, yes, but it also forces the unfolding into the narrow corridor defined by doubt, urgency, or unmet expectation. No amount of wishing can undo that mechanical folding of possibility. This is not punishment or failure. It is physics meeting psychology. The spiritually mature path here is not more force, it is more neutrality. It asks you to cultivate a steady inner posture, hold the desired state with coherence, like a lighthouse beam, and remove the frantic handheld flashlight that keeps scanning for signs. You become both scientist and sanctuary, curious, precise, and profoundly unhurried. Observe without verdict. Notice sensations without adding a story of lack. Trust the direction you've set without micromanaging the arrival. For those who have tried rituals, tools, and techniques, and still feel something stubbornly blocks the door, this is an invitation. Shift the way you observe. The liberation is simple and radical. Release the detector. Keep the intention. Live fully in the present while allowing possibility to do its unseen work. If this resonates, take a small step. Comment, I am the observer. Save this for when doubt creeps in. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Like if it landed. Follow for the next part. DM if you want a short practice to start. They had learned to want with precision, a vision board, a morning ritual, the exact feeling rehearsed until it almost hummed beneath the ribs. From outside, it looked like mastery. From inside, it looked like watching a pot you hoped would boil. The narrator knows this. Desire, when attended to with fear, becomes its own trap. The more one measures the outcome, the daily check, the furtive tally, the inner script that insists on evidence, the more potential collapses into the narrow pathways carved by doubt. Think of the unseen possibilities as a field of light, diffuse and alive. Intention plants a stake in that field, a gentle pointing. Observation, however, erects a detector that demands proof. Each glance is a tiny collapse, and those collapses accumulate into a shape no one would have chosen willingly. A version of the desire filtered through insecurity, impatience, and past failure. This is not blame. The narrator knows many have tried every tool in the box, rituals, books, coaches, affirmations, and still feel blocked, especially those who have worn the weight of repeated attempts for decades. For them, the paradox bites hardest. Trying harder becomes more measurement, and more measurement tightens the aperture of what can arrive. There is a subtler practice. It asks less of the hands and more of the inner posture. Hold the desired state like a lighthouse holds a beam, steady, luminous, and unmoved by waves. Tend the feeling without skimming the surface for evidence. Replace frantic surveillance with quiet data gathering. Neutral observation that notes without narrating, that registers without attaching meaning. Be curious about how you are when you are not compulsively checking. Cultivate a baseline of coherence, breath, attention, values that serves as the field in which possibility can unfold. You are not abandoning the wish. You are changing the way you keep it. The desire remains present, dignified by trust rather than drained by anxiety. The more you practice this, the more life realigns to bring the outcome that matches the steadiness you've grown into. If this lands, write in the comments, I am the observer. Save this, share it with someone who keeps checking the pot, and follow for the next step. You've been trained to chase clarity as if it were a thing to seize, and then you lean in, measure, and ask the universe to prove it. From an omniscient vantage, what looks like stubborn fate is often a pattern. Intention fixed, attention anxious. In quantum terms, observation collapses possibility into a single line. In human terms, each check narrows outcome to what your fear anticipates. This is not judgment, it's description. That awareness is the turning point. Imagine a different posture. You set a clear, heartfelt intention, not a frantic wish but a coherent inner state. And then you become the steady field in which it can unfold. The skill is subtle. It is not obsession nor abdication. It is a disciplined neutrality, holding the desired reality as a living image inside you, while your outer senses stop acting like detectors. You do not stop wanting, you stop measuring. That shift changes the electric weather of your nervous system. Anxiety drops, clarity deepens, autonomy returns. Practically, try this brief experiment. Name the intention once, aloud or silently. Allow the feeling it evokes to fill you for 30 seconds, vivid, specific, embodied. Then place your attention in the present. 5 slow breaths, hands resting, senses in the room. Notice the impulse to check, to update, to control. When it comes, and it will, register it without commentary. Say to yourself, there is the measuring. Release the urge like letting a pebble sink in a pond. Return to the steady state of being who already holds the intention without needing evidence. For those who have tried everything, this practice isn't another tactic. It's a repositioning of identity. You stop being the anxious examiner and become the open field that allows emergence. Over time, outcomes begin to align not because you force them, but because your inner coherence invites them. If this feels true, affirm it outwardly and inwardly. Like this post, comment, I am the observer. Save it for the moments you feel the checking urge. Share with someone who needs this reminder. Follow for more practical practices and try the 2-step experiment today. Then tell us what changed. You have tried force, ritual, and relentless planning. You have tightened your gaze until the thing you wanted turned brittle and impossible. The narrator knows this. Desire, when cornered by anxiety, loses its range. In the quantum analogy you have heard, possibility is not just poetic language, it is behavior. Left unmeasured, possibilities spread and interfere like waves. Measured, they snap into one fragile path. At the center of the room where your longing lives, there is a simple instrument, attention. How you point it decides whether you steward a field or kill a seed. Here, at the climax, the paradox resolves. Intention is not the problem, over-observation is. You imagine the difference as the hand of a gardener. One gardener plants a seed and returns often, prying at the soil, rearranging, measuring growth with the anxiety of a scorekeeper. The other plants, waters with steady care, checks the weather, and otherwise lets the ground be. Both committed, only one produces healthy blooms. The physics is the same. Neutral witnessing creates the conditions for emergence. Obsession collapses possibility into a narrow path shaped by fear. Neutral observation holds the inner state of what you want, clear, steady, uncompelled, while releasing the need to coerce the outcome. This is not mystical escape. It is disciplined practice. Set your intention with precision. Take one aligned action. Then switch your role from measurer to witness. Breathe. Engage with life. Work the obligations that anchor you. Notice without verdict. When you feel the urge to check, observe the urge itself and let it pass. Over weeks, the knot loosens. The nervous system relearns how to expect without grasping. Clarity replaces compulsive scanning. Things arrive without the drama you once summoned. For people who have tried everything and still feel stuck, this is the turning point. Stop collapsing the map with suspicion. Become the observer who holds the desire like a light. Clear, calm, unpossessive. Practice this, and what you want returns with less friction, greater integrity, and a steadier you. If this resonates, write in the comments, I am the observer. Save this, share it with someone who needs steadiness, like, follow for more, and subscribe for practices that honor both rigor and mystery. You have been taught to treat desire like a problem to solve, a gap to fill, a timeline to force. But the mechanics of longing are quieter and stranger. Intention lays the field, attention harvests the outcome. From the vantage of an impartial narrator, the pattern is clear. The moment you camp at the edges of what you want with worry as your tent, you collapse many possible futures into one small, fear-shaped outcome. The world does not punish you. Your measurement does. This is not an invitation to passivity. It is an invitation to a different muscle, the capacity to hold wanting without strangling it. Imagine a scientist who sets an instrument carefully, lets it run, then reads the data without editorializing. That steadiness, the capacity to observe without collapsing possibility through anxious interrogation, is the discipline at the heart of true manifestation. You cultivate a clear inner state, take concrete steps aligned with your aim, and then release the need to micromanage the result. For those who have tried every technique and still feel tethered by the same invisible weight, know this. You are not failing at desire. You are practicing it wrong. Replace frantic checking with calibrated trust. Practice brief windows of neutral witnessing, 3 minutes of noticing the desire, then returning fully to present tasks. Let embodiment, not belief, be your anchor. Actions done from calm, not from lack, generate different trajectories. This is liberation and sovereignty in one breath. You become fluent in wanting without losing yourself. You learn to steer without gripping the wheel so tightly you stall. The life you imagine stops being a mirage and starts being a set of unfolding possibilities you no longer sabotage. If this lands, take a precise next step. Choose any. Do all 6 if you like. 1. Comment below. I am the observer. 2. Save this post to revisit. 3. Share with someone who needs this reminder. 4. Try a 3-minute neutral witnessing practice today. 5. Follow for more practical, non-mystical teachings. 6. Join a short course or community to practice steady attention. Recognition is the first action toward freedom. Begin there.